look, I'm going to be completely transparent with us, and obviously our other hosts aren't here, but and not everybody feels the way I did, but coming into this season, I was not excited at all. Mm-mm. I was not looking forward to this. I thought it was going to be a boring season. And to be fair, I was really debating on even coming back this season.
We really did.
To do a, even myself hosting, if Karina wanted to move forward or if she didn't want to move forward, just kind of saying, we're going to take a break. But we watched episode 0 and our minds have been changed. They have been changed. Mine has been changed, at least.
I will say that my mind has been changed up to this point. I think my current issue is that I just don't have a lot of faith in production being able to carry out something great long term. I don't really remember season 40's episode 0, but I do remember the premiere episode 1 was fantastic. I remember the energy that we all had coming in here to recap it. And it was just, we were excited. It was a great opening episode, great opening challenge, like all these things. And then, and it was that way for the first few episodes. And then it started to fizzle out. And by the end of the season, it was just womp, 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 So I think I'm excited. Like episode 0 definitely got me more excited than I was before. But I think there's just that little thing in the back of my head that's like, they're probably going to fuck it up. Somehow, some way, they will find a way to fuck it up.
I am trying to give them as much benefit of the doubt. And like I said, I'm hyped. Maybe not as hyped as I was for 40 because of all the big cast returning. But look what they showed off of these new threats. Impressive.
It is. Honestly, you can't fight it. I think that these are going to be some good additions to the show, first of all. And I think it's going to be a really interesting mix of people, and we'll get more into it as we start talking, about everybody that's there and whatnot. But yeah, I definitely am more excited now than I was before. But it's also kind of odd because I didn't really see any promotion for the launch special.
None.
And I haven't seen any promotion directly from like MTV or Buena-Murray or even like the challenge social media pages where they're promoting that this episode is currently free on YouTube. You can watch it for free on YouTube in any country. I don't want to say in any country, but I do know that you can in like Canada, the UK, majority of the countries that typically don't get access when it's on, platforms like MTV or, whatever. It's there. It's on YouTube.
Matter of fact, linked right now just for y'all. We love you.
It's the only reason that I saw it this time around because my streamer didn't have episode 0. It's also how I found out that I didn't actually watch the reunion last season because I clicked on it and it said I had like 2 new episodes or something. And when I actually looked, it was just part 1 and part 2 of the reunion. And I was like, nope, going back to YouTube because I know it's there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, look, I hate to say this, and look, I'm going to be really positive about this whole season thus far for episode 0. I'll reserve judgment for later on, but currently I'm hyped for this. Yeah. My biggest issue is with how they're distributing the show. Like, why do I have to still pay for cable? I'm already paying for Paramount Plus. Give me the episodes there. Give it to us on YouTube. However you're going to do it, but not on cable. This is not 1998 anymore.
Well, I mean, they flipped it. They flipped it back to cable. Like they flipped it to MTV for 40 as well. But then before the finale of 40, MTV withdrew from Canada. So we technically didn't even have access to the finale of 40. And then now season 41, also on MTV, also not available in Canada. Now, I haven't checked. CTV has like an app, and some of the stuff that would be on MTV is distributed through CTV. So I will take a look and let you guys know before we actually post the episode whether it's there, because the CTV app is a free app if you have cable. So you could actually, in theory, stream it there. I'm somewhat more nefarious in my streaming.
But again, you still have to have a cable subscription, right? Which is just insane in these days in 2025. And it's so weird to me that the challenge in their, their production and casting and all this stuff of the actual show, insists on, let's move forward. Let's keep with the times. Let's grow. Let's change. Let's not stay this old school thing that people like. But at the same time, we are going to continue to distribute it in a very old school way. And it's just like, why this one area do you guys refuse to grow in? Or is it that none of these other streaming services want the challenge because the challenge doesn't perform as well as a lot of other competition reality shows like Survivor and Big Brother, So, I mean, that's a possibility too. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
I'm just saying that those 3 million viewers from CBS a few years ago starting to look real good to the 198,000 reported for episode 0.
Yeah, launch.
Plus 113,000 on YouTube.
But we don't even know how many of those were day one. Like, how many people actually watched it live is what actually counts for like ratings and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but even then, even if you're just looking at how many views the show has gotten, and just for anybody who's listening right now, this episode is currently being recorded on Friday, whatever day today is. What is today?
24th,
the 24th, 25th? Something. I don't know. My phone's not showing me
it's the
25th.
25th.
There we go. Now it's showing me the calendar after I sounded like an idiot live on the podcast. But so today is Friday, July 25th, and there was 198,000, views on TV through MTV. And then we checked, and since it aired on Wednesday, so in 3 days, it's gotten, what did you say it was?
113.
113. So altogether, that's like 313,000 people have watched. It's just
10% of what they got for a spinoff on CBS.
But then it's also like, is it because fans aren't watching 41? Or again, does this go back to what I brought up at the top of the episode where it wasn't promoted? Episode 0 wasn't promoted to the fact, it wasn't promoted to the point where on the day that the launch special aired, the first thing that the challenge posted that day was an image that says 1 week. And it was promoting episode 1 coming out the following week. And then challengers who are on season 41 were commenting like, what about the stuff that's on tonight? And then like 3 hours later, they posted.
God. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no. And then 3 hours after that, they posted launch special tonight, 8 p.m. on MTV, whatever.
They posted an image that said 1 week out. Yeah. And the talent had to comment to remind the actual page that there was an episode 0 that day.
Hey, why are you not promoting what's airing tonight? Like, why is that not what you're posting about right now? That should be the only thing that you're posting about all day Wednesday. Should have been things that related to,
what?
The episode that was airing that night, not promoting the episode that's still a week out, because now people see that when they open their Instagram app first thing in the morning on Wednesday morning, or they're getting ready for work or whatever. They see that post and they're like, oh, okay, cool. The challenge is on next week. And then the brain
goes off and it won't turn on again until next Wednesday.
Exactly. And look, and we follow the challenge. Like we avidly follow not just the challenge, but pages that follow the challenge as well. So we're catching strays from everywhere. And it's hard for us to figure this out. So a fan that's just, I like the challenge and I'll watch it, has no fucking clue unless they're following all these different pages. And look, I don't really say this often, but Bunham and Murray, if you're fucking watching us and you need help with social media, hit us up. We will help you do this. This is what we do for a living.
Literally.
Like, it's not that fucking hard.
And even if it's not us, y'all definitely need a new social media manager.
It was probably the guy that did the stats a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
I hope he's gotten promoted.
Take him back to doing the stats and stuff and hire somebody
70% heart.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was
30% intelligence.
He was great at that. Let him do that for everything. It's fine. I mean, never mind. I'm not even going to say that because
anyways,
I'm going to save it for the right time.
We're already 15 minutes in.
Yeah, let's get going. On
Welcome to the Challenge Fandom podcast. We got myself, Rick, my wife, Karina, beautiful wife. We're going to start using nicknames. We're not 23 anymore. I don't know where that came from, but it felt right. And then we've got Tony Lance. Thank you guys all for joining us. Welcome to episode 0. We've gotten the negative portion of what we see about the challenge right now out the way. So that way we can give you an actual really excited version of this was a good episode for Challenge 41. Vets and new threats. And look, I wasn't really believing the new threats thing.
Mm-mm.
And then we saw him on that mountain, going about 5,500 feet up and then back down.
Yeah, 5,479 feet to be exact, but yes.
Yeah, so 21
and then
feet
back
up.
down. Like, so
Yeah.
both ways.
So they did about 2 miles, and that was a hell of a climb.
I was like this. Some of those shots of when they would show them, like, some of the competitors stopping to take a breath or talk to each other or whatever, and you could see.
It was a 40% angle.
You could see how steep that mountain was. Like, it was not a joke. It wasn't a jokey joke mountain. It was a real one.
It wasn't a jokey joke. But what I really liked about this is how they played. I thought they could have explained it a little bit better than they did, but I like how they played them doing the athletic thing at the same time as the interrogations. And that's what I really want to get into is the interrogations, because I think that was actually the highlight of this whole first section.
First of all, let me just say the whole interrogation setup with TJ sitting there like a detective, the little metal table, very like CSI. And then you had the double, two-way glass where all the vets were behind it.
You mean doing the Bohemian Rhapsody impression?
I know, right?
Why are you here?
I wish
it was
that
cool.
I liked the setup. I loved the interrogation. I would have loved if TJ was asking questions about who are the vets you're worried about, who are the vets you think are past their prime, stuff like that. And they don't know that the vets are sitting there watching.
Set up that fucking dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rather than the why are you here from everybody. Like,
except
that
bananas.
wasn't necessary, but it could have been used really well if that then impacted how some of the vets felt towards the threats coming in and build that animosity and drama before you even start.
No, I agree. Actually, I think that would have been a really, really nice little like twist in addition to this section of it. Yeah.
No, I agree, honestly.
I know you want to talk about it.
No.
We're not even there.
I was just going to say, in general, I think there were a few people that really stood out, and production made sure to show them in typically the beginning or the last portion.
Right.
And then we got a bunch of chopped up in the middle, But
you can there was definitely a lot of, you can tell just by how they edited these interrogations, you can tell who are going to be like the main faces and voices and personalities of this season, and who's, maybe going to be going out early or who maybe didn't contribute a whole lot. That's kind of how it made me feel, was that like these people that we were getting their full interviews, those are going to be the people that are either going to cause problems or do really well, or, they're going to need to be paid attention to in one way or another.
There was always like, if there were 2 or 3 interviews that were kind of cut up together, you could tell that there was always one person out of the group that you were supposed to be sort of paying attention to. And the other one, maybe they didn't do so hot in the interrogation portion, so it was tacked on to others that did better.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So, and just starting off top, one of my favorites and favorites from this and who I'm looking forward to seeing is Cedric, the intelligence analyst who was a former Marine. Who was on Big Brother. The way I know you want to talk about it, the way he came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to give, I loved him immediately because of the way he treated TJ. Like, he walked in, the legend TJ Lavin shook his hand. He was engaged with TJ. He was, held eye contact the whole time. He was just very respectful and like I could feel his excitement and his energy from getting to meet TJ. And it made me really like him. And then, I mean, former Marine intelligence analyst, like I'm all in. I like Cedric.
The part that got me is when they did the vet coming out and saying, "Why are you here?" And he didn't break eye contact with TJ and said, "Challenge champion has a nice ring to it." And I was like, I like this guy. I did
really like Cedric. He was fun.
I think Yeremi stood out in his interrogation and his performance, obviously.
I like him. He seems like he's obviously very good physically. I think he's going to be, I'm not sure about the social. Like, I feel like I need to see more of him engaging. I don't really know if he's like, is he funny and playful, or is he going to kind of be like a more serious player like Horacio? So I'm very intrigued by Yeremi.
The read I get on him right now is that he's a little bit of a chameleon, that he will play what he thinks is the best at that moment.
Yep. And I feel like if he came on a different season, like if he was on 38, like anything to get him into season 39, for example, 100% I see him shoulder to shoulder with Kyland and Horacio. Like that's the type of player that I see him becoming. And that's sort of the edit that we're kind of getting as well. And I talked to Brittany about it a little bit as well, because she had also said very much Horacio coded. But I think that he's super smart in the way that he approaches the game, especially like jumping a little bit ahead, the conversation with Michaela and how he went about that and how he received the information, because Michaela is like a dominating personality and how smart and how calculated she is. So rather than try to come in on her level, he very much just like took all the information, added it all to his data bank, and would process. You could tell he was going to like sit there and process it later, but he was quick to take in everything and never turned anything down.
Props to Michaela as well for actually giving him solid advice in that conversation. Real advice.
Yeah, it wasn't, it wasn't like to throw him on. It wasn't even to try to get him as her partner. She just legitimately was like, hey, so no, I really liked that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say.
No. What I did think was interesting is the introduction in not only her climbing the mountain, but in the interrogation with Sydney, who is Wes's personality doppelganger.
No.
She's Amanda coded.
Yes, really she is.
She is not, because that's what I'm saying. Look, is she trying to have Wes's archetype? Yes. Does it come off the same and work? No. In my opinion,
she verbatim said things that Wes has had.
I know, but it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? Like that's a known fucking thing. And with Wes, the way he delivers those kinds of things, like, he's being sarcastic, he's being playful, he's playing up a character type. When she says them, it feels like she actually believes those things. Like,
I think that is also bias on the fact that you don't know her, and this is your very first introduction to her. And if you see more of her, you won't have that same thing. I don't think that is how she walks through life. I think that's how she plays a TV character. I
mean, and that's fair, but, also, like, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to, talk about how pleasurable it is to watch you on TV and how you wouldn't want to rob the world of seeing you on this show.
Philanthropy.
Yeah, you're a philanthropist. That I still don't even understand what the fuck she was trying to say. You should have like at least something to lean back on and say like, yeah, I did that. But
especially
she doesn't. She didn't do shit.
Well, and coming from Survivor too, she was on Danny's season. She was on Danny's tribe, but they won every immunity challenge pre-merge. So as people who have watched Survivor, you get a little bit of all the tribes before the challenge, and then whichever tribe is going to tribal council, that's who you hang with for the rest of the episode. So really, you got the front half of every episode until the merge with just little snippets of her tribe. And then she was voted out at the merge because of like a bunch of nonsense. But no one who is coming from Survivor is necessarily making the jump over because of Sydney. They're making the jump over because of Dee and Michaela, and they're sticking around because they've also got another Survivor player here. But really, this is going to be the first experience that a lot of people have with her, even if you come over from Survivor, because I still don't know a lot about her, and I've got the rules of Survivor on my wall.
And that, I think that's kind of my thing is like, if you're going to come in, you're going to play this like overtly cocky, arrogant kind of archetype. You either have to have like, you know, if you were on a show previously, you have to have a good history on that show, or you have to have like literally be fresh and nobody knows anything about you, right? But if you've been on a show previously and tanked on the show, and then come on another show and just like talk yourself up, you just sound dumb at that point. You know what I mean? So I don't know. If for me, it's not landing the way Wes does, and not even like today Wes, but even like old school Wes. It doesn't land for me the way it used to. And I may change my mind. I'm leaving the door open with Sydney. I'm not like completely writing her off at the beginning of the season. But I'm personally not vibing with her very much.
No, and I get what you're saying, and I get your perspective. To me, it gives off more Wes vibes than anybody else.
Well, I'm just saying, I agree. I think that's what she's aiming for. She's trying
and
to be.
I get your perspective on
it just
why.
doesn't work.
Yeah. There's
like you can try to do things, but it doesn't mean you're good at them. You know,
the brand you're building, you know, like the old saying, the brand you build is the story you're telling. This is a story she's telling, but the customer experience is what we saw in Survivor.
Right, exactly.
And that's her brand right now.
We already have tons of reviews that say what you're advertising is not accurate.
So,
but anyway,
instead of running through all of these, I've got a couple I want to talk about in particular. But one I want to bring up is, like, who was your favorite? Like the one that either caught you by surprise or the person you think you're going to enjoy the most? Like, which one of these new threats really kind of was like, oh, that's the one?
I would say, I mean, honestly, I think that's what has changed my mind about this season is that there were numerous. There were numerous for me. You know, like I said, Cedric really intrigued me. I'm excited to see more from him. I am very interested in Izzy. I think it was, you know, I know that she was like, you know, she's kind of more petite and whatnot, but I love her energy. I like her personality. I like the fact that in her interrogation with TJ, she was like, yeah, I'm here for the money, which not many people actually do when they're asked in confessionals or like whatever, like, why are you here? It's always, you know, oh, for my family, or I'm doing it for my people, or I'm trying to show my brother and my sister and my cousin's dog walker's best friend. And, you know, all these things. And nobody ever comes out and says, I want to win $300,000. I want to win $500,000, you know? And so I really respected that. And then, you know, kind of just jumping, and I'm not going to go super into detail, but, you know, the choices that she made later in the episode when it came to the draft, I was very, very impressed. I was very, I'm very intrigued by her. And like I said, we'll talk about the draft some more here in a little bit, but she just, to me, she's really pulling my attention. And I'm also really interested in Blue, but I know you have some things you want to say, so I'll let you talk about Blue. But I am very interested in Blue. And I mean, I think those are really the only new ones that we haven't already talked about that stuck out, that I know. There is one more, but I know that Tony, that you're going to want to talk about her. So anyway, go ahead.
Real quick, I do think that you're right. There were quite a few that stood out, and everybody kind of delivered on a different note. There were a few that just blended into the background.
Yeah.
And then there's these other ones that stand out. Side note, Yeremi, am I saying that correctly?
Yep. Yeremi, yeah. It's like Jeremy, but with Y.
he looks like he should have been cast on Twilight as one of the wolves, the werewolves. You know what I mean?
He could have been. He could have been a vampire with those
probably could have
eyes. Like that guy is a vampire. He's a vampire is in real life. So that's interesting. And then I just wanted to throw out, I'm not sure how I feel about him in the actual game yet. But Leo, when Kara popped out and was like, why are you here? And he just started laughing and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm way too unserious for this. That would be me. So I had to give him a shout out for that because I would not have been able to hold a straight face in a situation like that. Like I would have been laughing too.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. You're good. You're good. Blue, though, yeah, she really stood out to me. Like, for knowing nothing about her, because I didn't watch her season of Big Brother, and then getting America, who was interesting. And sidebar on that, big props to all the new threats, because they came in seeming very educated on the challenge and who was there.
Yeah.
Like they all did their homework leading in.
Agree. And really quick, also, I'm going to be throwing in some comments here and there from
Alexis.
Thank you. I almost said Ahsoka, and I don't know why. But I'm going to be throwing in
rough.
I'm going to be throwing in some comments from Alexis throughout the episode. She really, really wanted to be here tonight, but her and her husband have some plans, have like a whole boat day. She's gonna, go hang out and listen to Boats and Hoes and whatnot. So she couldn't come tonight, but that was one of the things that she said that she really
Anna Maria. Sorry, you said Boats and Hoes.
She said that she really likes that the new threats get to sit with TJ and kind of like build a relationship in a way like others didn't get. So that's kind of cool. But then she says, I didn't know America previously, but she said she binged 30 seasons and that's respectable. And I always love when cast does their homework. And yes, I agree with that, so major props to her. And, I'm hoping the other threats did as well. I didn't really... maybe they already were fans of the show, or I don't know. But
the gist I got from everybody in there talking about other casts, I mean, outside of a few people from the UK, it seemed like everybody kind of knew who these people were and what their resumes were.
Yeah.
But Blue, in her interrogation with TJ, flipped me 180 degrees right away. I was like, I'm not going to like this girl. And about 30 seconds in, I was like, oh, she's good. And then I was like, oh, I'm vibing with her. And then she told TJ, like, my mom had a really traumatic brain injury and I want to be able to get her help. And I also want to get some big ass titties. I fucking died. I died.
So did TJ.
She is my pick. I'm riding with that one. He's
like, Blue is going to win. Like,
yeah, she's the one. Going into that vet room and she's like, oh, I'm going to get along with all these girls. And then I don't care. I'll stab them in the back if I have to. I'm like, that's right. Lie. Just lie.
I am all in with Blue as well.
Yeah.
And even just hearing how the other cast was talking about her after knowing her in such a short amount of time. Like that. And they were all saying the same thing. They're like, dude, she's such a vibe. She's so much fun. She's got all this energy and, she's just cute and fun. And, so I think that says a lot too, is like how the rest of the cast talks about you and views you in confessionals. So I'm all in with Blue.
Yeah, no, I really liked him. And then obviously there was another girl and I don't want to talk about her. I'll let you talk about her, Tony, because I know who
tell us about D.
Yeah. Because she got the best ad lib from a vet, because everybody else got, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? And Bananas comes up and goes, are you single?
No. Do you have a boyfriend?
Oh, do you have a boyfriend? Yeah, I fucked it up.
And then she didn't answer. And he goes, would you like one?
And then she goes, so on brand.
And she goes, can I see what you look like first?
Their back and forth is really good. But
so good. Anyway, sorry. No, tell us about D.
Yeah.
Because I also major apology to our listeners and all of our supporters out there. We did actually record a cast breakdown and predictions and like all this thing. And it was actually a fun little episode. And then all of the freaking video files were corrupt. And so we were unable to put that out. But I want to know about Dee and like kind of like, you know, her Survivor win and all of that. So
Yeah, I mean, Dee is a total badass. When she was on the show, she was one of the first ones from day one that were like, she's going to be on the challenge. She has to be on the challenge because she's got everything. She did really well in immunity challenges. She did really well in the game socially. She was able to navigate through the bulk of the game with a 4-person alliance. And I want to say they got to final 6 before they started to splinter a little bit. And it was more so because when there are 4 people to get to a 3-person finale for one person to win, somebody's going to have to take the shot. And she was just better at it. And she got to the end, and she was also able to separate her game next to somebody else from her alliance. She was able to completely separate her game and say why she deserved the win over him and how she played the game better than him. And that was key. She can talk the talk, she can walk the walk. If there's going to be anybody that is stuck with bananas who can outplay him, it will be Dee.
I was going to say, what are like her strengths? Is it like strategy, social? Like, where's she really like?
Where doesn't she?
Okay.
Yeah. So social, strategic, like she's got it on lock. She's a good athlete. She's good with puzzles. She's good with endurance. Like she's
a real threat.
Yeah. She's one of those ones that like you've kind of built in a lab to bring over to the challenge and can kind of do it all. If she gets, and I said this in the last recording, that if she makes it any distance at all, she is going to get the same kind of edit that Nerys and Olivia and Horacio and Kylan and Michelle all got when they started to see her through. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if it's basically her for the girls and Yeremi for the guys as far as the new players that really get that boost, because I can see them coming back just from episode 0. I can see them coming back on subsequent seasons already. There are other people that I'm like, I don't know if you're going to be back or if you're just going to be a blip on the radar, a one and done. But them, I can already see them on multiple seasons.
Look, I'm going to be honest, like thus far, what I've seen, and I will reevaluate after like probably episode 1 or 2. This might be one of the more interesting rookie classes that we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's been a while since we've seen a rookie class. Last time we saw any rookies was what, 38?
38.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 39, there weren't really any rookies.
There
was just people that hadn't won that we'd only seen a few times. And then, we had some on 38. That's when we got like
37. We had a bunch. 36. We had a bunch. But it's interesting to see with the amount of rookies. I don't know if any of them are like necessarily the highest peaks of like could be in the challenge, like an Olivia or Horacio and Nerys. But I don't see anyone going as low as like the guy who ate mustard packets before he lost his elimination.
Oh, Joseph?
Yeah, Joseph. Yeah. So it seems like a fairly solid freshman class, I should say.
We've talked about like Dee and Yeremi and Izzy and people like that, but I do also want to draw attention to, I like Ben. I like that we don't really know a whole lot about him, but he's kind of got like, and I'm going to compare a lot of the rookies to like a vet counterpart, but he's sort of got that like Devin or Kyle energy to him.
Yeah,
where
definitely
he's there to be the social player, to have fun, but he can also get stuff done if he needs to. I'm a little bit worried with the pairing, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm intrigued by Justin and what Justin brings to the show.
Too.
Okay.
I really like Adrienne, who's paired with Rogan. And
she seemed fun, yeah.
Yeah, and she's got the right kind of energy, and again, pairing people with other people. I see sort of like that Olivia backstory of like, I'm out in the woods, slightly isolated. You've got the like, I know how to do things that I need to do. And Olivia's exactly the same when she was talking about like Alaska and everything else. And I did also binge. I've got like 4 episodes left of season 3 of Canada's Ultimate Challenge, but otherwise I've binged 3 seasons in like a week and a half. Lekka is awesome.
Is it Lekka or Lika? Okay, so it's Lekka. Okay.
Yeah, I like the little bit that we saw of her thus far. Look, going back a second, and him bringing him up made me think of it. What I said was Justin gave me kind of Frank vibes, early Frank vibes.
Oh, I was like, I don't know
the
who you're talking
cheerleader
about. Okay,
the male cheerleader.
Yeah,
gave me Frank vibes a little
Frank,
bit.
maybe Shane, you know?
Kind of, yeah, right there.
Question really quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been trying to say this. But going back to Ben, was it just me or did he come off like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but he came off kind of like mysterious. Like, I don't know. Like, he just kind of reminds me of like, that like, you know, old dad neighbor who like, you know, constantly like complains about like his back hurts and he's tired or whatever. And then like randomly one day you find out like he's like a secret spy or something. Like, I don't know why, but he just like carries this like something mysterious about him. I don't know what it is, but
what the French call a certain I don't know what.
Precisely.
But no, I really like that. And then a couple things that I just want to throw in really quick before we move into, you know, the draft and, you know, our feelings on that and whatnot. I just want to say, number one, was anybody else getting like at the beginning, the top of this episode, getting a lot of like vendetta vibes, right?
Heavy vendetta vibes
with the mountain running and all of that. And then the second thing that I want to point out, and it's actually something I've seen a lot of people like kind of, I don't want to say complaining, but like bringing up like kind of in a negative way, is everybody was like in their regular clothes and everybody's like, Naya's in jeans, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, this is so old school.
Cutthroat vibes.
It's not even cutthroat. It is old school. Remember when they used to compete in their street clothes? They did not have uniforms. Like, it was very old school. Very old school. You show up, you go immediately into competing, and whatever you're wearing, that's what you're competing in. And so I actually kind of liked it. Yes, it sucked for, you know, some people like Naya, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. And I kind of just liked that they didn't, like, it just, the opening part, the, you know, the little race up the mountain to find out, you know, the draft order, it didn't feel produced. It felt real. It felt, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I actually really liked it.
And when I agree, it felt old school, but it very much reminded me of Cutthroat, where they showed up with their suitcases at the elimination arena and then had an elimination right there.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, so Survivor Pearl Islands, everybody came in their like press outfit. So like whatever they were going to do for their preseason interviews. So like some people had suit jackets and everything else. And then that's how they started the game. They were told to show up in their press junket outfits. And then they did the marooning there on the boat and they started playing in whatever they had.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Sorry. The other thing I wanted to bring up was where they finished after the interrogations on the mountain.
I only wrote down 2 people.
No.
Like 3 people. And that was Yeremi, who came in first. And then what was his time? Like an hour, 22 minutes or something like that?
It was an hour 22, but it was the only time we got.
Yeah, we didn't get anybody else's time. And then obviously Naya and CT were the last to cross.
At least they convinced Naya to come back down the mountain.
I did find it so funny though that CT was like stuck in that sneezing fit and like could not stop sneezing from all the dust. But the one that I found the most interesting was that Olivia was the very first vet to cross the finish line. And I thought that was really interesting. But I didn't write down anybody else's placements. It was just too much. It was going too quick. And I would have, you know, it was just too much.
I kept like watching people get to the top of the mountain and they're like 21st place, 27th place. Like, how many people are there? Like, I understand that we have pairs, so it's going to be a higher number. But for whatever reason, I just like didn't mentally compute that we were going to be going that high. So after we got past 15, I was like, oh, they're probably almost done. And then 28, 29, like, cool. I guess everyone's here.
It was interesting to me to see how many of the new threats finished above the veterans. I mean, Olivia was the only one that really finished in the midst of the pack. It was really just a pretty clean sweep by the new threats.
But here's my question really quick. Does this opening race up the mountain, you quote unquote race up the mountain, does that put, like, are you putting a lot of weight into the people's performance for this? Or like, how are you guys looking at this opening? I don't even really know what to call it because it wasn't really like a daily challenge or anything. It was just kind of like you show up, get to the top and get back down as quick as you can. But I don't know if they knew that was going to determine their draft order for the teams or like, you know.
Yeah, they didn't explain it.
I don't think that they knew that was. So I'm wondering if everybody really like gave it their all or if it was just like, this isn't even a real challenge. This is just to see who gets to pick teams. I'm not going to like race and run myself out on this mount. Like, how are you guys viewing this? Are you putting a lot of weight behind the performances on this opening challenge or are you kind of just, it is what it is?
It depends if you're a rookie or a vet. So the reason I say that is because we've got all of the new threats that came in like in a pack. And then you've got the vets that all hung back. So my take on it, and whether it's accurate or not, is that the rookies came in with something to prove. They wanted to show how they could compete in an actual physical challenge. The vets didn't want to get injured going up a mountain. They also wanted to be able to sit back and see how these people perform. Because really, you know that if everyone's getting paired up and there's the same number of vets as there are rookies, that you're going to be paired together. So if you do really quick math, and I think it's math that even most of the challengers can handle, of adding everything up and making sure that it's an even number, then that way you know that you're going to get picked. It's not like you're not going to get picked.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't care about who picks you, if you think that your history on the challenge is enough to be picked by somebody who's at the front of the pack, then you have absolutely no reason to really try to get up there ahead of everyone else. So like CT knows he's getting picked by someone.
Well, yeah. And I think the other perk for finishing the mountain was like you got to pick your room in the order that you finished.
They're all the same.
Who cares? You know, like CT
and people move around.
Yeah, exactly.
Turbo slept on the couch last season.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, to me, I don't put a ton of weight in it. I look at it as like kind of a litmus test of just who athletically and endurance wise has what it takes to compete for a win in the final. And to me, like if you could come in like the top 5 of the men or women as a new threat, it gives me an idea that you're on the upper echelon of the endurance of the group that we have. You're an actual threat to beat a Bananas or Turbo
Rogan,
Rogan, Theo in a final.
Or you're willing to wreck yourself to make it look like you can.
Right. One way or the other, exactly.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page because that's kind of like and I think you're kind of pretty much saying the same thing, but I'm pretty much where you are, Tony, where for the new threats, I am definitely putting weight behind this performance. How did you perform? How did you handle the stress when it got hot, when you got to the top and you were tired and still had to turn around and go down? How are you handling that? For the vets, I'm not putting a whole lot of weight behind it because majority of them, we've seen them compete. We know that they can. And like Naya, if you put a lot of weight behind her performance in this, she would look like she's incapable of doing something like this. When we know that Naya is capable of this, but she was literally wearing fucking like skinny jeans and trying to climb a fucking mountain. So, so that's my thing. I agree with you guys. I think that for the new threats, it was important for them to perform well and show the vets what they were capable of when it came to endurance. I was about to say mental capacity, but that's not what I mean.
Fortitude.
fortitude, I guess. Yeah. And then, but for the vets, they didn't really have much to prove or show.
It very much gave me fresh meat to combine vibes.
Yes, it did.
Show off for the vets so they know who they're getting partnered with.
Right.
To a degree.
And somewhat like the USA or like the Worlds or whatever, where you had the rookies run the kind of gauntlet and then the vets pick their partners. Sort of the same thing. Like if any of the vets that kind of finish middle of the pack, those are the ones that were just doing what they would normally do. Like they were the ones that didn't really have an issue with the task at hand.
Yeah, nobody looked like they were Jordan out there trying to do it.
No.
From the vets.
And Rogan didn't throw his back out. So like
surprising.
Rogan didn't throw his back out. I will say though, the one person that I was actually genuinely shocked by their placement was Theo. Like he was so far at the back, like he was damn near in last place if it wasn't for like CT and like one or two other people.
I think.
And so I was just like, and that's what really got me thinking, because I'm like, Theo's better than that. You know what I mean? He might not be the best at like long distance endurance, but he's better than that. And so I was like, maybe it was like I don't really need to wear myself out for this when there might be a challenge tomorrow. Like they didn't know when the first actual daily would be. So
I do think that Theo is very much like you guys were saying, I'm not killing myself for this at all. I'm going to fucking casually hike up this mountain like I'm in Scottsdale with Olivia.
Yeah, I'm just going to go on a little hike and, and that's the thing is like, I think that the vets also obviously realize that, even if you don't perform well in the mountain climb, and this does determine the order in which you pick your partners or like who picks or whatever, you still have that social night.
Yeah.
To try to convince whoever you want to pick you. So, I agree. Yeah, I don't think that it was important for the vets to really go all out in this. So
I'll give props early because I don't normally give this person props, and it probably won't happen much this season. Turbo, I don't dislike him in this episode. He did some Dragon Ball Z shit with the special effects at the top of the mountain. He skipped down the driveway with bananas. He had that conversation with CT where CT just completely gave up on having the conversation.
I'll pick you. If I'm allowed, I will pick you.
He was like, bro, you can't pick me. Like,
I'll pick you.
Like when I listened to it the next time, like, because I watched it twice because I forgot why I was watching it the second time, because I was watching it initially to see how they did in the first part. And then I planned on skipping just to see who picked who. And then I had gotten as far as the CT and Turbo conversation. I was like, why am I still watching this the second time in like 3 hours? But it was the fact that CT, when Turbo said, I hope that somebody picks me. And then CT was like, oh, so you're a pick me person. And then he goes, yeah, I'd pick you. And then just like the miscommunication back and forth for the rest of that conversation.
Yeah.
So
was
good.
Amazing.
It was amazing. It was so great.
So, all right, I want to get into the selections, but instead of going through every single one, I want you to give me your, however you want to do it, your favorite three, the three you think are going to work the best together. You can even give me the three you think are going to win. But which three are you guys looking at? I'll go with one of my teams first. I like Derek Chavez and Blue.
God damn it. That was the one I was literally going to say.
Well, then you take that one.
No, it's fine. I was literally just scrolling down and I was like, oh, I'm going to go with Derek and Blue first. And then you're like, Derek and Blue. I was like, look, damn it.
I think that Blue, from what we saw, doesn't have a major flaw in her endurance. She did fairly well on going up and down the mountain. I think her personality is going to mesh well with Derek.
Oh, yeah.
Chavez.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have a ball.
And Derek's no fucking slouch when it comes to running a final or doing anything physical. So I think they're a team that look out for us.
They're both
team sleeper.
They're both social players, too. Like, they're both likable. They're both funny. They both bring energy and character and personality to the house and to the show. So, yeah, no, I agree. I think that they're going to be a really good one. Are we doing good teams right now, right? We're doing like tops.
Yeah, who you're excited about or who you think's going to win, however you want to categorize it.
I'm going to jump in. I really do think that Izzy and Theo are a good pair.
Yeah.
And I want to give massive, massive props to Izzy because Rogan was doing everything he could to politic with Izzy. And she accepted. She got what she needed. And then she still stuck to her original plan of being part of this big UK alliance. They've got like 5 or 6 teams in this alliance. And her main goal when she walked into the house was to work with Olivia. And she made that happen, regardless of the fact that she was already starting to really like Rogan. And then they, had their little hookup moment in the kitchen and who knows what else they did that night. But I was like, dude, that's so gangster because she took his politic. She took the treats. She took the bait. But at the same time, she really didn't. So Rogan was doing all this extra work just to try to get her to pick him. And he still didn't get picked. And I just loved it. It was so gangster. I loved it so much. So I'm definitely watching Izzy and Theo. And that whole UK alliance is going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, agreed. What's one you're looking at, Tony?
So I was going to go with a different team, but I'm going to go with this one because it pairs with what Karina's saying. So Izzy came in and she was like, I want to work with Olivia. I obviously can't pick Olivia, so I pick Theo because that still locks me in. Yeremi and Aviv is so fucking smart because
I think so too,
Aviv is awesome. Aviv is a great partner. But then on top of that, Yeremi knows that every single male vet is going to be gunning for him in this game. So what does he do? He picks the partner who's going to be a great competitor and a great partner for him, but is also so closely linked to Bananas that unless he wants to supremely screw over a very close new friend, he does not want to throw Yeremi in.
Are we taking bets on how long it takes Bananas to flip on Aviv, or put on his what's the grandpa's name, or not grandpa, but the guy who makes Pinocchio, Geppetto, right? Is he going to put on his Geppetto hat
100%.
to have somebody else?
He's going to make Leroy and Sydney do it.
He's gonna make somebody else do it, or he might just flip on Aviv. We never know. Bananas is capable of fucking anything.
Well,
but I think they're gonna be a tough team. Yeremi and Aviv. I think they're definitely gonna be a tough team.
Well, that was actually my second pick, so I'm only going to give 2, and you guys can do the same because I know I took yours. My other one is going to be Cedric and Olivia. I think those two, she's kind of hitting her stride and knowing the challenge. And then everything I said about Cedric earlier, I think they're going to end up working well together because it seems like Cedric is more analytical in his thought process. And I think that's going to pair well with Olivia and also gives him kind of an intro to the UK alliance, which he wouldn't have without her.
Right.
So that's my second team that I think is going to do well.
I like that. For my second team, I think just because I'm interested in this person, in this new threat, and I think that physically this team is going to be able to they have the potential to absolutely dominate. I'm not quite sure how the social is going to play out, but I am excited to see the team, and that's going to be Jake and Cara. I think that's a very interesting team. And like I said, physically, they have the potential to just absolutely dominate. And
like Cara and Theo is kind of what it reminds me of low key. Right.
So I'm just kind of excited to see, how that all, but as far as I know, Jake is part of that's 6-person UK alliance that's all wanting to work together. So that gives Cara some protection too. So I think that's going to be an interesting team.
I have to go with Lekka and DK.
Ooh, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good partnership anyway, but the fact that Lekka is from Canada's Ultimate Challenge, and by the way, she absolutely dominated and kicked ass the entire time. I think they're a really good pair, and I think that she will be able to rein in his frenetic energy, but they'll both be able to feed off each other's competitiveness and the drive to win. So I think that they're really, really well-rounded. And I mean, I was always going to pick Lecca regardless, but I was very happy. Like, there were a couple of people where I was just watching with bated breath to see who they were going to be assigned or stuck with, or who they were going to be absolutely benefit from being partnered with. And I think that it's super beneficial for both DK and Lecca in this case.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think they're going to be a good team.
I do too. Okay, so let's go with who we think's not going to perform well, who's not going to do well, whether it's the both bad at social, both bad at physical, or whatever it may be, just
personalities clashes, whatever.
To me, the glaring one, just based on how the selection itself went, is Ashley and Will. I mean, Gabe.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's going to be horrible. And then she's like, sorry, I got them confused. And he's like, we look nothing alike. Our tones are so different. And then they put up a picture and like...
I loved that he said we're a different shade.
Oh, a different shade. That's what he said.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And then they put up the pictures and like, Will is like super white. Oh my God, Ashley.
And Ashley's previous experience with a rookie was with Huey. And while they got along, they were both chaotic personalities that tend to work well together. I don't see Gabe being that way.
He doesn't give me that vibe. I think you're right.
I could be reading this wrong, but that's the impression I got on this first one. With that being said, we also see that they're going to be switching partners at some point. So who knows how this all works. But who's someone you're looking at as far as...
So I think for me, the top one that really stuck out to me as like, oh man, this is just not going to be a good pairing. And it wasn't even the thing that sucks is it wasn't even by choice. And that's going to be Taye and CT. So Taye, which is so cute. I love
it already.
First of all, I just love, and we've talked about this to nauseum before, but again, I just love how CT is with the rookies. He's so inviting, so helpful. And even when he's like has to be partners with a rookie in a season, he always like gives cute little nicknames and like just he's in it. He's fully in that partnership. And so I just really appreciate that. However, if we rewind back to the interrogations with TJ at the top of the episode, Taye in her interrogation was like, look, it's not really there physically for me, but socially I'm there. Like that is my thing. That's what I'm good at. That's how I'm going to play this game. And unfortunately, it seems like this is also going to be a social heavy game for CT as well. He doesn't really look physically prepared. And that's not to say that he can't still perform well, because we've seen CT in, I don't want to say bad shape, but like not that great of shape, not in shape the way we know CT, and he still performed well. But we've also seen him show up out of shape and just absolutely tank. So, it really could go either way, but knowing that there's a chance both people on the team are going to be relying socially or relying heavily on social, makes me worried about how far they'll actually make it when it comes to, actually performing in dailies and staying out of elimination. So,
and I saw somewhere that Zach, like, just to kind of give like a bit of an up to CT, Zach has also said somewhere that CT is the one who can come in like subpar shape and just absolutely beast it and get in really good shape really quickly. So, and also even like it's super confusing because you've got like when he did the hike up the mountain, he's got big bushy beard and his belly's accentuated, but then like in the confessionals, closely shaved beard and looking trimmer than he did on the hike.
I think all the confessionals for this season were filmed post. I don't think that they were filmed, and we'll see. Maybe it was just episode 0 confessionals, like they filmed it, post, or I'm not sure, but I did notice that as well. And CT also very recently, like within the last week, posted an update photo of himself on Instagram, which if you're watching on YouTube right now, I'll have it on screen right now, but he looks fabulous. He's again, already back in shape. His, you can see his jawline all cut tight again. He just looks fit again.
But like you said, and Tony said, and everybody else has said, CT is definitely that guy that if he goes out and runs in the backyard for 3 weeks, he'll be ready to run a final and probably smoke 80% of the competition there.
Now, I will say the team that I'm probably the most concerned about is Leroy and Sydney.
Yeah,
because
agreed.
Leroy likes to kind of lay low and be everyone's friend socially. I don't think Sydney's about that.
If she fucking takes Leroy out of this game,
I mean, history has indicated that it's not going to be Leroy's season just because it hasn't. But that's not to discredit Leroy. He now has to navigate the perception of Sydney in addition to playing his own game, in addition to figuring out whether he's going to play with bananas or play for himself. So there's a lot of variables that Leroy has to overcome. And I'm not saying that he needs Cam to be successful, but Cam is that like balance of that scale. And when he doesn't have that, it can go kind of sideways if he gets roped into like bananas orbit. And if he does, then I see Leroy being the one that makes moves to better bananas game rather than Leroy's game.
The only way I see it working out for Sydney is if somehow her and D get connected because of Leroy and bananas and the survivor connection. That's the only way I see it working for her in this situation.
I really hope that D and Michaela link up because between the two of them, like they could drag whoever they happen to be partnered to at a final through a final working together.
Yeah.
Did Michaela say why she picked Will? Because I'm like trying to remember who Will is and what was like special. Why she? Because I mean, she picked fairly early in the draft. I mean, not early, but right around midway. So there was still lots of choices. So I was just curious. Did I miss maybe she said why she wanted Will, or we just don't know yet.
She didn't say why she wanted Will, but looking at Will's interrogation, he was completely locked in with what he wanted to do, how he wanted to play, what he had to do. You could tell that he looked at the game in a similar way that Michaela does. And I think that was why she ended up picking him, because I went back and watched it too. Because I actually thought, it wasn't that I thought that she didn't pick Will, it was that I confused Will and Jake. So when I watched it the second time and she picked Will, I had just watched the interrogations and then jumped to the end and watched the pairings. So that made a little bit more sense because he was in that chunk with Leonardo. And it was very clear that he was there and had already, like, he was playing 3D chess and even in the interrogation. So I think that was part of why Michaela picked him. And I think also going back to what Michaela was telling Yeremi in the beginning was that you need to find somebody that you can win dailies with and that you're also comfortable going into an elimination with.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So before we get into closing thoughts, and I'll give everybody another thing to talk about before we get into closing thoughts. One thing I wanted to say is a sleeper team for me on this is Justin and Naya. I think they could potentially work out very well with each other because
I don't remember Justin. Who's
Justin's
Justin?
a male cheerleader.
Oh.
And he's partnering with Naya. I think he gets her boosted up. And when she has the right person behind her, she can be a beast.
And she plays well from the bottom.
Yep. So
I'm just curious why he did so. Like, where did he place?
He was
I don't remember.
I don't know.
He had to have been last because he was still
CT was
right, but I'm saying like he was probably
at the
right
end.
before CT is probably what I'm saying. So that's the only thing that concerns me is that he might not have very good endurance, and neither does she. So that might circle around on them.
I thought that he was with Blue and Nani when they reached the top. Like they were traveling together, I believe.
I thought
so. It could also be though, like the way that everything worked was depending on where you were, like how you finished, depended on who you picked. But then also, if you're a male new threat, you have to pick a female vet. So even though he might not have been last to finish, just the way that everything worked, people were getting pulled out of order when they were getting picked. So it would have left him down just by nature of selection, more so than by actual placement coming down the mountain.
You said you wanted to have a...
Yeah, so really quick, I just want to finish reading through Alexis's notes that she sent in. So she said CT, as far as CT finishing in last, she said, I think he might have had mountain PTSD. So she loved when Blue called TJ girl, and TJ was like, but I'm not a girl.
God, I just like Blue so much already.
And then she says, I'm very glad Izzy did not pick Rogan as her partner. I'm excited for her. She's fucking so pretty. I'm not surprised the guys are all looking. The new threats are going to bring back the fun hooking up aspect. All the vets been there, done that, which is a great point.
It is.
We are going to have fresh meat, single meat, all up in the house, maybe not single, and that's fine. I don't really care. So we're going to get hooking up this season, and that's going to definitely, add a different aspect that we haven't gotten in a little while. And then lastly, really quick, I'm just going to throw this in. Blue and Derek Chavez, thumbs up. She's excited about them. Leka and Derek K, thumbs up. She's excited. Olivia and Cedric, thumbs down. She is worried about that pairing. And then Adrian and Rogan, thumbs down. And she says, although I think she will end up as one of my favorites. So, and she thinks she'll like Adrian, but she does not think that Adrian and Rogan will work well together. And she does not think that Olivia and Cedric will work well together either. So I just wanted to get those thrown out. We love you, Alexis. Hopefully you had a great time on your boat day. Anyway, you may proceed. I just wanted to get those all out so I didn't forget. I was trying to time them and add them while we were, but it just, anyway.
So, kind of just wrapping this up. My closing thoughts on this in this episode was came in kind of a negative Nancy, wasn't excited about this, but 40 minutes of challenge later and that kind of super trailer that they put at the end. And all of a sudden I was like, insert this meme right here. That's how I felt. I'll send you the meme later. Don't worry. You just put it right there.
What meme? Are you going to tell us? Or damn, I was just going to say something too, and I lost it. I got so distracted with.
Well, I'm sorry you guys didn't think about it.
Fondling fucking poor Gus here. Yeah, no, I'm definitely more excited for the season than I was coming in. I'm still, like I said, I think it's like one of those things where you've been heartbroken so many times that you still have to leave that little bit of a wall, of a barrier, right? So I've still got my little barrier up, but I will say it's not a wall. It's not like a brick wall right now. It's like an iron gate, right? So we can still go through both ways. I'm leaving it open. But I'm also not gonna super psych myself out because I don't want to end up being overtly disappointed. But the thing I'm most excited about is this cast of rookies. I literally majority of them I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to learn more about. There's a few that are kind of flopping for me. They're not really giving a whole lot. But again, it's episode 0 and there's fucking 1,000 people there competing this season. So, as people go home, obviously, we'll get more focused storylines and more focused personalities and stuff. So I'm staying open. I am staying open-minded about the season. And, I'm excited for it. And I think the person I'm most excited for is probably Blue.
Yeah, facts.
So,
CT pro tips are back.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. I totally forgot. And that's what I was thinking in the beginning of the episode when I was like, oh, they need to just bring the stat guy back. And I was going to say, they did bring back CT pro tips, but I was like, oh, I don't want to say that yet. I want to save it for later when it happens. And then I forgot.
I waited and I was like, I'm not taking this from Karina. And then you did your closing part and I was like, I'm not taking this from Karina. I'm not jumping in. And then you didn't. And then I was like, okay, well now I have to do it.
No, I'm glad you did. I forgot. Yes.
They should do Katie's masterclass. Just pop that in there one time for us too.
But
I will say the only thing that I'm hesitant about America on is that she's coming after my stats and info title with binging 30 seasons, which hopefully will benefit Turbo because she's actually watched the game unfold from a viewer standpoint. So she knows what's happened behind closed doors on seasons that Turbo's been on. And when she got picked, she knew who Turbo was. So those are all things that are good for her and Turbo. I worry about her and Turbo. But I think she's kind of got like the Nani energy of like friend to all. So hopefully that does the exact same thing that it did for Nani and Turbo initially. The only other thing that I will add is that I'm intrigued by Adrian and Rogan to see how they do. I'm liking Rogan back after having time away from Rogan and also Rogan without Joss. So all of those elements are kind of working in their favor. One thing that I have to say that I really like, and even in 38, we didn't get a proper showing of it, is that we're focusing on the new threats. It's very clearly like this season very well may be like the passing of the torch to like the new class, but they're actually focusing on them in a way that we can get to know who they are rather than who they are in relation to who the vets are. And I think that's another reason like why it's beneficial that they're paired together is they're not going to be overshadowed by their vet counterpart because they're being shown together.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. And I did notice that too, that like a lot of the confessionals, a lot of the opening storylines are very much focused in on the new threats. Whereas, most seasons, it's just let's focus on Bananas, CT, Kara, Bananas, CT, Kara, because that's what brings the fans around. But eventually, someday, we're going to have to move on. So I do like that they're actually giving these rookies their moment, and so far I think that they're going to do well holding the show. So no, I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the season. And you know what? We'll be back next week to start breaking down with episode 1.
Yeah, we will. This will not be like All Stars 5. We are going to kind of keep our streamlined format. We're going to try not to be putting out 2.5 hour episodes to you guys. We're going to try to keep it kind of streamlined, but we are going to do it weekly. Whereas All Stars 5, we would go a couple episodes and then recap. But this season, we are going to do weekly. So make sure you guys are following us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And then just go find us on all the socials. We post a lot of fun, like interactive, like games, like Money Monday games, or like, this person versus that person in elimination. Who do you think will win? Just stuff like that. We make a lot of like highlight videos and just all kinds of fun challenge content. So make sure you guys come and follow us. And yeah, we will be back next week.
Yep. That's pretty much it. So from all of us here at the Challenge Fandom Podcast, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. If you're not following us, you've been here for almost 90 minutes. Hit the follow button.
Do it. Like it. Subscribe.
All that.
All of it.
Everything's linked below. So for myself, Rick, my wife, Karina, Tony, Leah, Lance, I'm stuttering.
Can't
that's
get
how you
through it without nicknames.
it's fucking me up. So that's where I call it adieu. Love y'all. Peace. Be good to each other. Bye.
Later.
Bye.